welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing our next episode of Stitch Dictionary, the Bobble Stitch. This stitch is really easy and simple and creates some great texture. I'm using my Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick yarn and my NP 10mm hook. Let's go ahead and get started with our foundation chain. You can do any even number. So I'm going to start with a foundation chain of 24 for my 11 by 11 size blocks, but you can do any even number. And now we're going to count down to the second stitch from our hook and single crochet. So there's our single crochet. In the next stitch, single crochet. Remember, that's insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops. And we're just going to single crochet in each stitch all the way down. If you need any help with basic stitches, please consult my crochet beginner series on my main channel page. There's a playlist for it. So just single crochet in each stitch all the way down. You should have an odd number of single crochets now. And once we've completed that and gotten to the end of the row, this is what it should be looking like. So we're going to go ahead and chain up 2 and 3. So chain up 3 and turn. And then next we're going to start our very first bobble stitch. So in the very first stitch there, right next to the foundation chain, yarn over, insert your hook, and pull up a loop. And we're going to yarn over. And we're just going to pull through the first 2 loops on our hook. So we're starting a double crochet here. So just pull through the first 2. Now stop, and we're going to start over with another double crochet in the same stitch. And just pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. So now we've done 2 started double crochets. We're going to do a total of 5, all in the same stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through just 2. Start again, yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through just 2. That's 4. We need 1 more started double crochet. We're just starting, we're not finishing. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, and yarn over, pull through just the first 2. Now we've started a total of 5 double crochets. We have 6 loops on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and pull through all 6 loops all at once to gather up the top of this bobble. So now our first bobble stitch is done. And what we're going to do is just single crochet in the very next stitch. Make sure not to skip any. And just single crochet right there in the stitch. Don't chain, don't do anything after that bobble, just single crochet. And now our first bobble is all done. So there we can see what it's looking like. Creates lots of texture and volume. Should look like a big popcorn ball there. So let's start our next one. 5 started double crochets. So there's our first. There's number 2. Remember, we're just pulling through the first 2 loops here. There's our third. There's our 4th, and we need 1 more to make 5. You should have 6 loops on your hook. If you lose count, count however many loops you have. You should have 6 before you pull through and finish it off. So I have my 6, I yarn over and pull all the way through, and you have to kind of tighten up the top of that stitch, so kind of tighten things up and pop those stitches forward, and it'll create that kind of popcorny bobble look. And I've single crocheted in the very next stitch. Nice and easy. We can start to see what it's looking like, all the texture that it's creating, and in the very next stitch, start your next bobble. So here is 1 and 2. Remember, 5 started double crochets all in the same stitch. You do need to be very familiar with double crochet in order to do this successfully, but if you can do a double crochet, you can easily do a bobble stitch. So here is the 5th one. We should have 6 loops on our hook. Yarn over, pull through all 6, tighten it up a little, pop those stitches forward, and single crochet in the next stitch. We're just going to keep repeating this all the way down, bobble, single crochet, until you reach the end of the row. And once we've reached the end of the row, it should be looking something like this. We should have all this nice tidy line of bobble stitches that should be nice and flat on the back. And we should have ended things with a bobble stitch and then a single crochet into the turning chain. So I've finished it off with a single crochet into the turning chain there, and now I'm going to change color. You don't have to change color with bobble stitching. I'm going to just to show a little bit more of a dramatic, intricate look with the bobble stitches. Once you finish the row and change color if you wish, just chain up 1, turn your work, and then we're just going to work a row of single crochet. So we're going to repeat row 1, and we're going to single crochet in that very first stitch, and then in each stitch along. Make sure that you're only stitching into the top of the bobble stitch, not into each of those individual 5 started double crochets, just into the top of the bobble stitch itself. And if you watch closely what I'm doing here, it should be very obvious where you should be stitching. This is how it should be looking. And the reason that we're doing this is so that all of the bobbles wind up on the same side of the work. So here we're working across the back side, which should remain flat, and we're going to work some single crochets on all of these odd rows so that all of our bobbles are on the even rows and they're all facing the same way. So just go ahead and single crochet all the way along here. You should have the same number of stitches in this row as you do in the row below. Every row of your bobble stitch swatch should have the same number of stitches. So no matter what size swatch you're doing, you should have the same number of stitches every row. So once we finish the row of single crochet, this is how it should be looking. We have that turning chain and that first bobble stitch kind of sticking out here on the end, but that is totally fine. It will even out in just a moment, so don't worry about that right now. Don't work into that chain 3, because we're going to put our first bobble right here, and it's going to kind of push things out this way. So you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So go ahead and chain up 3, turn your work. I'm changing color every other row, and I find that that works best with the row of single crochet and the row of bobbles being in the same color. So in the very first stitch right here, we're just going to repeat row 2, work a bobble stitch. So 5 started double crochets. Don't finish them, just pull through the first 2. So there's the 4th, 1 more, and the 5th. We should have 6 loops on our hook. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yarn over, pull through all of them, pop those stitches through, tighten up a little, and we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. And you can see here how this is stacking on top of the bobble from row 2, and it's creating a nice straight line on the edge, even though at the end of the row before it looked like we were stopping a little short. Once we do that bobble in the next row, it evens things out and will create a nice square swatch. So I've repeated that all the way across, bobble and single crochet all the way across. All of your bobbles should line up from the row below, and we can see here how it should be looking. There's lots of volume in these stitches, lots and lots of texture, and the back should be totally flat. So just go ahead and repeat this 2-row repeat, a row of single crochet and a row of bobble and single crochet alternating until you have the length that you like. So for me, since I'm creating a square, I wanted the same number of bobbles across as I did tall. So that's an easy way to make sure that you have a perfect square. Just count how many bobbles you have in a row and then count that many rows of bobbles tall. So you can see here what my finished swatch is looking like. I started and ended on a row of ivory, and then I did purple, pink, and purple to create some nice symmetry. I liked it a lot better alternating ivory and then a color and then ivory and then a color instead of just kind of mixing things up. I liked this linear look. Now looking over here on the edge, since I only changed color every 2 rows, I was able to carry my yarn quite easily with this striping. So I don't have a ton of ends to weave in. I just carried my yarn up and didn't snip the yarn. And with the ivory, I did the same thing. So you can see that carrying your yarn reduces the number of ends you have to weave in by a whole lot. I only have 4 or 5 ends to weave, and makes things a whole lot easier when I'm doing something like striping. And when you work border around the edge, or when we sew these blocks together for the Stitch Dictionary throw, it will hide those pieces of yarn that were carried. You can see here on the back, it's nice and flat. The front has all of these bobbles on it and has all that lovely texture. So thick, very warm stitch for blankets or scarves or anything like that. Super thick fabric, and there's not any gapping, which I love. A lot of crochet stitches have lots of gapping that lets air through, and it doesn't create a very warm product, but this is not the case with the bobble stitch. It's nice and cushy and thick. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and this episode of Stitch Dictionary. Make sure to subscribe to my channel to catch all of the other Stitch Dictionary episodes and lots of more fun crochet tutorials. Thanks for watching! it.